G'day viewers, I did some cleaning up here. Got all the snake haven, so to speak, bloody hiding spots out. I call hiding spots snake havens because they love hiding under things like boards and in grass and weeds and stuff and leaves. So all that came out. That's all nice and thinned out. It's all clean up behind there. Well, this has all been raked up. No more smelly cat poo smelling anymore. Much better. Yeah, make sure prepare for summer. So before it starts getting really hot and the snakes really start coming out, well, this is going to have to be cleaned up. Don't want any snakes here, that's for sure. Not when I'm going to work here in my man cave. They're starting to come out this year, the snakes. It's only a couple of weeks ago. I've also put the national Panasonic on the other national Panasonic. It's quite right there. Both the same size tube too. This is the older style. It's got the dots on it. It looks like a dot matrix, but it's not. It's inline gun. And that one has the same chip. It doesn't have that dot matrix like phosphor to it to make it look like a delta gun, but it's not. My valve radios are in there. I didn't leave my container for long because I know the container gets a bit too warm in there. Not good for my valve radios because they will just dry out the electrolytics. So I put them in here. I cleared out the cupboard solely for the old valve, the old valuable stuff in here. And then I put a shade cloth eventually across this wall here outside to stop the sun from baking this wall in the summertime. And that will really drop the heat down in here, probably down to at least maybe 45 instead of bloody 48 like it was before. So to keep this little area cool. I might even see if I can put a maybe a roof vent would be nice in here. One of those whirlybird roof vents. Stick it on here. And that'd be the way to go. If any slight wind on a hot day will suck the get some air circulating in here, make it a bit naturally cooler. Just I did some tweaking on this, and it's a bit brighter, but it's still no picture or no video signal. The tuning works real good. I get audio. I even pick up radio stations with it. So the tuner and the audio section work real well. Just getting no video. But all the vertical and horizontal hold work. You can see it working on the screen. It could be somewhere in the tuner circuit. It's not getting the video signal through there, which someone suggested. Anyway, it's a long-term project, as I said. Also tried a 5-amp power supply on this up high. This is another one of me come with the other Optima monitor I got. This is a power supply for that Optima monitor I got. 12 volt 4.16 amp. Bit badly being a Chinese unit. But I can turn this up and it'll cut out. It will cut out obviously because of the power, and it resets as normal. That one there it won't cut out and won't reset because it hasn't physically hasn't got enough grunt to trip this amplifier out. So this is probably better. But you do get both power supplies are the same amount of distortion at high volume. So it will protect your speakers as well, but it's just harder to do it with this amplifier because it's a 2-amp one. So it's borderline what an amp would need at full volume. You do get a lot of distortion as typical, but this doesn't provide enough current for the amplifier to trip out, or to trigger the speaker protection relay as it's called. It does with this one, and it did with the other 3-amp one it came with, which this amplifier doesn't like the wall wart it came with. It would not reset off protection mode. But with this one, and this one, it's fine. I'm still waiting for the Kinta to arrive. I reckon this will be good in the Kinta amplifier. I do quite like these little lamps. It's quite a nice little lamp. Anyway, also got this with a pair. It's just if I can get it going, I can get it going. If not, it's a teardown victim. It's a cheap, nasty, generic Kmart brand of household phones, cordless phones. It's got pretty cheap construction inside. The problem it had, the connector for the phone line was made out of some brittle material. I don't know what it was made of, but it was very brittle. It crumbled to pieces when they bumped it, because they plugged it in and it was working for quite a number of years. And they bumped it, and the actual plastic in there, that socket just shattered. So, real weird. Let's see here, we've got a transmitter, a speaker, a transmitter circuit. April 16th, 2004. There you go, that's when it was made. Wave direction with a wave solder. Ant 0. There's another antenna 1. A little bit corroded, that one. There's 2 antennas. And that transmits the signal to that handset. I'll get the tripod set up and have a good detailed look at this thing. There's some EFC brand electrolytic capacitors in here. There's a flash chip in there with all the memories on the answering service starter on it, which I won't play on video for privacy reasons. We've got a little thing on there, crystal. And that little thing there, which has got a copper shield on it. Probably some sort of shield. Power supply there. Little MOSFET. It actually sounds like a dry joint, but it worked. I'll do another test to see if it works still. The microphone's in there. And the wall wart, I got it in the cupboard somewhere. It's a 9-volt wall wart, which I'll keep because a 9-volt wall warts are quite useful for charging some of the lights I've got. Now they also run that Astor radio I got off Ed, which runs on 9 volts, so it's good for that. They're all cheap brands. It's pretty much a kid's toy. It's just pretty the same quality you find a cheap kid's toy play phone set. It's that same quality, but it's a proper setup inside. There you go. Set the tripod up. We've got here's a better look. Both hands free. A generic transistor with G dot in it. Don't know what brand that's supposed to be, but it's a generic transistor. 7806, it's a regulator. Main filter cap. Toroid to microfarad 16 volt. Rectifier diodes and goes in there to filter it. Even though it's a DC wall wart, but it's still got those in there anyway. It's a DC in, half wave by the looks of it. I can only see 2 diodes. And there's 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's got 4 diodes. And it goes in there, filters it, regulates it. There's a little thing here somewhere. Looks like some sort of backup battery originally would have went there, I think. Could have been. That or a big capacitor. And this is a separate soldered on component, which is the information for this head receiver, the base station. And the date June 24th, 02. June 24th, 2002. That's the revision of that one. The revision of this one, 16th, 2004. Another crystal there. More brains here. This could be the flash chip here, I think. If you look carefully, we've got 2 of the pins got shorted across with a bit of solder. Taiwanese made chip, which I think that's probably for the keypad. Cheap LEDs. They're big LEDs at the back, but they've got a small adapter on the top for a smaller hole. That's odd. Never seen it before. Little speaker under there. Held in by a bit of foam. Little Phillips chip here. Yeah, there's nothing really much inside these things. Pretty bog standard stuff, but all still works fine too. Just needs a socket in the back to use it. Let's have a look at the handset. This does not have any screws that I can see. Oh yes it does. Oh yes, those hidden screws. Okay, I can take that sticker off the back for the battery. It reveals a secret connector. Check that out, a secret connector in there. That was covered by the little label. Interesting. I wonder if that's for tuning it in to the space station in the manufacturing process. Or keying it, I think they call it. Keying it in. Anyway. That's that one. Alright, there's one bloody screw. Try and find the screwdriver here. Try to get that one out apart without destroying it. There's something in here holding it together. Don't know where, but it just doesn't want to come apart. It's got strong clips from there down. It's clipped together, but this bit is only screwed together. So I better put this back together. Try not to wreck it just yet. Can't see what's fitting on that chip. I'll have to clean that chip to see what's fitting on it. But Uniden make the best of these cordless phones. The Uniden ones are made in the Philippines. And they're real with brick-like construction. You can throw them around and they don't break. This one just feels like you can just snap it with your hand. I did a bend test on it and it'll snap if you bend hard enough. Anyway, it goes back on there. To avoid damage, use only doorway, original batteries only. Which are my GP brand, NiCad battery, rechargeable AAAs. So I kept those because they're still good and I could use those in anything. So I got an extra pair of rechargeable AAAs out of it. Pretty much all there is to it. I'm watching this. Not sure what that does. Oh, hang on. 600 ms range. That's a range switch. You must switch either one of those antennas on for your range. Okay, that's interesting. Wave direction. So to dip it that way in the solder. Yeah, microphone there for hands-free. A lot of residue on this board, a lot of flux residue, very cheaply made. Moulding on this plastic as a date code. What have we got? Have a look. Hard to read. 5th month for 2004, I think it's the latest date code on that mould there. 2004 this thing was made, so it's 10 years old. Anyway. It's a brief little teardown for you. Thanks for watching.